exam. Okay, and then come to I'm skipping drama and going only to the poets. When it comes to Restoration Age, a man who was shining during Restoration Age was John Dryden. Am I right? Okay.
Yes,
John
sir.
Dryden. Okay. Now coming to the drama written by John Dryden. What is the famous drama written by John Dryden? It's an adaptation of William
All for
Shakespeare.
love.
All for Love. A man who celebrated William Shakespeare to a great extent. You know, he wrote a critical work in which he celebrated William Shakespeare, wherein he celebrated English dramas. He celebrated English writers. When the contemporary critics were celebrating the French writers, the French playwrights, he was telling English writers and the English stage has its own potential. Then he identified two people. One is Ben Jonson. He says, if you want a classical writer in English world, I will give you the example of Ben Jonson. And he took in the last section of his famous work. What is the work? An essay on dramatic poesy. Essay on dramatic poesy is a beautiful work. All of us know the content of the work. Am I right? It is written in the form of a frame story narrative. It's a frame story narrative. In frame story narrative, there are four friends who are traveling towards the mouth of Thames, where there is a fight which is in progress between England and a nearby country, and they wanted to know what is the output. Before they could go, the fight is over, but there is an intellectual battle between the four. One particular person supports the ancient, one supports the modern, one supports the French stage, and Neander, who is none other than Dryden, he supports the English stage. And there he speaks high about Ben Jonson, and he tells that the French men, they may call themselves as classicists, but the blessed classical writer is Ben Jonson. And he gives the example of The Silent Woman written by Ben Jonson as an example of a classical play written by an English writer. And then he appreciates William Shakespeare for writing tragicomedy. And there is a very famous statement. He said, I admire Ben Jonson. I love Shakespeare. He is a lover of Shakespeare. That is why he adapts Shakespeare's Antony and Cleopatra in his work, All for Love, because he wanted to make his work a classic. A classic should follow all the three unities: unity of time, unity of place, unity of action. You know, Shakespeare was the iconoclast. He broke all the Aristotle's unity in one play. And that one play is Antony and Cleopatra, because it had 7 different settings, and the whole action of the play was 27 years in the life of Antony and Cleopatra. Okay, and even the action keeps shifting from one place to the other. Whereas Dryden wrote a play focusing only on the last 24 hours in the life of Antony and Cleopatra, and the main action takes place only in Alexandria. And he followed the French technique. French people, they were working on Aristotle. Aristotle said the action of the play should be restricted to 24 hours. He followed it in All for Love. Come to the next one, place. The action of the play should take place in one place. Or the French people, they said it can take place in a place which can be seen from this place. So he embarked on that particular idea and he wrote the play All for Love. It has a subtitle. What is the subtitle? The subtitle for All for Love: The World Well Lost. The World Well Lost, where he celebrates the love between Antony and Cleopatra. Okay, so then you need to know about Aphra Behn. Who is Aphra Behn? The first English writer, female writer in the male-dominated world. And then you have some of the famous Restoration playwrights: William Wycherley, George Etheridge, Sir John Vanberg, William Congreve. What type of question normally is asked? It's match the following type of question. Okay, they will ask you to match the author and the work, or they will put the author in chronological order, or the works of individual writers in chronological order, or all the writers of these writers, and they will ask you to identify the chronological order. Normally, there is one question from these writers. Okay, so prepare accordingly. Then coming to Pepys diary, they'll ask from which year to which year did Pepys diary cover? What are the major events covered in Pepys diary? Then coming to Alexander Pope. Alexander Pope was the major poet in his age. That's why the age is named after him. What is Alexander Pope known for? Which is based on, when you take Rape of the Lock, you need to know about the dedication. It is made to, John Dryden wrote two odes, two famous odes. One is a song for St. Cecilia's Day. The other one is Alexander's Feast, where both the work celebrates the power of music. And the second work, Alexander Feast, is also subtitled The Power of Music. And the publication dates has to be followed. Now coming to Alexander Pope. Alexander Pope is also someone who is to be associated with Shakespeare. Sorry, with Chaucer. How is he connected with Chaucer? You know, Chaucer introduced heroic couplet. Somebody perfected heroic couplet. Who perfected it? Alexander Pope perfected heroic couplet. Let me ask you a question before it's time. I know that I will be doing injustice by winding up, but then you can always learn. Hey, there will be time when organizers may arrange for one more session and I may come to address you. I'll always love to. Now, coming to Chaucer and Gerard Manley Hopkins. Normally, I speak about Gerard Manley Hopkins. Prior to Chaucer, there was alliterative verse. Someone in modern poetry who revived alliterative verse. And the person is Gerard Manley Hopkins, a master of alliterative verse. He is also known for a few things. He was the one who modified sonnet. He came out with his own version of sonnet called Curtal sonnet. He came out with his own version called Curtal sonnet. Right. Then he is known for two other terms. What are the two terms? Inscape, in stress, and he came out his own rhythm in poetry.
Sprung rhythm.
Asiriyappa. It's called sprung rhythm. In Tamil, we call it as Asiriyappa. Okay. Right. I think I will stop here.